Welcome back to No Bias Hoops, and today we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets and how they could potentially become a really good team in just a year. Currently, the Nets are sitting at 12th in the Eastern Conference, but they are pretty much tied with the 76ers and not far behind Chicago, so there's a real chance they could get in the play-in. They have one of the easiest schedules left in the NBA, so there's definitely a chance that this team could make the play-in. They've exceeded expectations. They were the favorite to be the worst team in the NBA this season, but after making a few trades, such as trading Dennis Schroeder, they've somehow improved, and it's a lot because of Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson. They've been playing really, really well, but the Nets have a really good blueprint for the future. They've been a sneaky good drafting team the past few years, and they haven't had any high picks, really. They had Nick Claxton, who was the 32nd pick in the draft, so that's an insanely good pick. Cam Thomas was not a high pick. He was the 23rd pick, if I remember right. And really, they do have a good core, and they traded for their pick this year in a good draft, but the sad thing is it probably won't be the highest pick, but that's okay, because making the play-in would be huge for this young team. And after trading Mikal Bridges, they have lots of picks from the Knicks. They have a few Suns picks from the Rockets. They have a few Suns picks in the Kevin Durant deal, and they got their own pick back this year, so likely they'll take a decent player around 10, maybe like a Yegor Demon who could play point guard for them alongside Cam Thomas. He's bigger, so I actually do like that fit. Cam Thomas is more of a scorer, Demon's more of an assister, rebounder type point guard, and he would fit well next to Thomas. They'd have Cam Johnson at the 4, maybe Dariq Whitehead at the 3, then they'd have Claxton at the 5, but I think there's a chance they could trade for Bam Adebayo in the offseason. Bam Adebayo is on the Miami Heat. The Heat aren't amazing. Obviously, they're in the play-in right now, but without Jimmy Butler, I don't know how good the team really is, and it would honestly be smart for the Heat to go into a rebuild. They don't have their picks, but being mediocre is not the way to create a good basketball team. And if they would be able to get, for Bam Adebayo, who's one of the best defensive players in the league and also a scorer, they could probably get 5 first-round picks for him. And the Nets could give them that. They could give them Knicks picks. They could give them some of their own picks, some Phoenix picks. They have lots of valuable picks, and they really could make a pretty good deal for Bam. They could give up D'Lo in the deal. They could give up some other guys they have, like Anthony Melton, but Noah Clowney. But it would be an interesting thing that honestly probably could happen. The Nets are only staying this mediocre because they have the 9th best defense in the NBA, while everything else is bottom 25th. So really, their defense is insane, and Bam Adebayo would just make that better, but he would also score. So you could potentially play Cam Johnson at the 3, Bam Adebayo at the 4, Nick Claxton at the 5, and that would be an extremely defensive front court that would be extremely hard to score on, but could also score on you. And off the bench, they'd still have their guys. They'd have Dariq Whitehead, maybe Noah Clowney. Maybe they get traded in a Bam deal, but maybe they don't. They could have D'Lo and Melton off the bench, who Melton was traded in the Dennis Schroeder trade, but he's a steal pickup for them. He's out for the season, but he could be really good in the future for the Nets. And I really think that with how bad the East is, the Nets could really be a contender in the East with that trade. And if a guy like Demon ends up turning out really good, then it could extremely speed up their rebuild. It would be a huge risk for Brooklyn because you have the chance that they never really end up being great, and then they don't win a championship for a long time due to the fact that they trade for Bam. But I think they have a good foundation, and it doesn't just have to be Bam. But this team will be a realistic candidate to buy whoever it is. Maybe it's Giannis. They've been aggressive in the past. It hasn't really worked out, but I think it could work out this time. Bam is only 29, I think, so that is not too old. It's definitely not young, and he doesn't exactly fit the timeline, but he's not too old. He'll probably be good for another 5 years, so it would be a really good trade. Let me know what you think, and see you next time on No Bias Hoops.